All right, question for you. Would you rather spend tens of thousands of dollars over the next few years on rent or invest that same money into something you actually own? Now, before you answer, trust me, I know what you're thinking. I'm not about to hit you with the boring spreadsheet full of numbers, but I will hit you with real data, real comparisons, and exactly what you should think about if you're weighing renting versus buying here in San Diego in 2026. If you've ever wondered whether it makes sense to keep renting or finally pull the trigger on a home, stick with me because by the end of this video, you're going to understand the math, the market, and the mindset behind the smartest decision for you. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in San Diego, then subscribe and click that bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know about the current market here in San Diego, California. My name is Victoria Sandoval and I'm with Select Premier Properties. We get calls from people just like you every single day, so whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, feel free to reach out. My contact information is on the description below and I'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to San Diego. Hey, I'm Victoria Sandoval, your San Diego real estate broker, aka your housing market translator with over 23 years in the trenches. I've seen cycles, corrections, price spikes, interest rate panics, and every should I wait question imaginable. Today, we're breaking down the rent versus buying, and here's the tricky part. There's no single answer that works for everyone, but there are rules, financial, practical, and strategic, that any first-time home buyer should understand before signing anything. We'll look at local San Diego rents and home price data and how long you need to stay in a home to make buying worth it, the real cost behind the mortgage, and the long-term benefits that rarely get mentioned on TikTok videos. I promise, by the end, you'll feel smarter, more confident, and way more equipped than 90% of the people shopping for homes right now. Let's start with the current state of the market. What's San Diego look like in 2026? Well, San Diego is still one of the toughest markets in the country, even compared to the rest of California. Here's the reality. The median home price in San Diego is sitting around $970,000 to $980,000 as of late 2025, according to Zillow. That's down a slight bit year over year, but it's still very high compared to most U.S. metros, according to Redfin. At the same time, median rents in San Diego are hovering close to $2,900 to $3,100 a month, which, let's be honest, for a 1 to 2 bedroom, it's no joke. And here's the part that'll make you raise an eyebrow. It now takes about 30 years for a household earning the typical income here to save for a 10% down payment on a medium home price in San Diego. 30 years. That number alone tells you a lot about why this market feels so intimidating right now. Renting versus buying, the break-even reality. Now let's talk renting versus buying from a financial perspective without fluff. Here's a concept called the breaking even point. That's the point where mathematically buying becomes cheaper than renting because the value you build in equity outweighs the extra upfront cost of buying. In California, markets like San Diego, most calculators and financial models suggest that the breaking even point is typically around 6 to 7 years, sometimes longer depending on your exact numbers. Translation, if you plan to stay somewhere for less than 5 years, renting makes more sense financially because buying comes with closing costs, inspection fees, moving costs, taxes, and selling costs later on. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though monthly rents can be cheaper than a mortgage in San Diego, homeownership can still be the better long-term financial decision, and this is why. Let me break it down with simple stuff most people don't automatically think about. When you rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage. That's it, gone, poof, no return. When you buy, even with a big payment, you start building equity from day one. That means part of your monthly payment is literally going into your pocket, not your landlord's. Plus, property values historically go up over time, even if there are dips here and there. Home ownership unlocks tax benefits, things like mortgage interest deductions and property tax deductions that renters never see. You pay less over time because rents tend to rise while your mortgage payments stay stable. And here's the real mic drop moment. A national report just came out showing that 57.7% of U.S. counties owning a home is actually more affordable than renting, even with higher housing prices once you account for long-term costs. Now, San Diego is more expensive than most counties, But here's the takeaway. Buying here isn't just a lifestyle choice, it is a wealth building strategy if you stick around. Okay, before anyone starts yelling at their screen, renting is not failure. In fact, renting is a smart strategy for people, especially if you don't plan to stay put for 5+ years. Your job or life situation could change quickly. You want lower upfront costs and no maintenance surprises. You want flexibility because sometimes life doesn't just happen on a 30-year timeline. Renting gives you lower barriers to entry, more flexibility, and less risk if the market swings sideways. But here's the trade-off. You're not building any equity. You're basically subscribing to shelter, not investing in an asset. That's the rent versus buying conundrum. And it's not right or wrong, it's contextual. Let's apply this locally, starting with downtown. In the heart of downtown San Diego, the zip code is 92101. The average rents have been around $31.50 per month, with 1 and 2 bedrooms dominating the inventory. Meanwhile, condos and homes that cost similar to renting month to month come with mortgage payments that are usually higher on the front end, but over time starting to work for you. Here's the reality. Downtown rents softened slightly last year due to oversupply in small units, but the cost to own still demands a premium because of limited housing supply and strong demand. And yes, that sounds like the classic neither option is cheap scenario, but that's San Diego real estate for you. The smart way to think of downtown isn't rent versus buy on a monthly bill, it's liability versus asset. Rent is a liability. A mortgage, if managed right, becomes an asset. Now, if we step aside downtown to the broader county, it looks different. In North County areas like Carlsbad and Encinitas, median sales prices for detached homes are often north of the $1 million mark, with some coastal communities climbing every year. That sounds crazy, but until you compare it with the long-term trend, those markets appreciate because of demand, schools, lifestyle value, and space, which means your equity growth over a decade can be significant. Meanwhile, in the South Bay, places like Chula Vista and parts of National City, prices are more approachable with lower median values than North County, but still in the range where buying is a powerful long-term play if you stay put. Here's where the rent versus buy math becomes super interesting. Rents in South Bay and Greater San Diego are still close to $2,900 plus and rising. Buying costs may be higher up front, but equity grows, and historically, over 10+ years, that growth snowballs. San Diego housing supplies remains tight, so long-term value trends lean upward, not downward. So practically speaking, downtown is urban and dynamic, great if it's your lifestyle. North County is space and schools, and South Bay is value and upside. All three for long-term horizons can favor home ownership over renting in the financial analysis. So here's the truth, cold, hard, and real. Renting gives you flexibility, buying gives you ownership and wealth potential. If you plan to stay less than 5 to 7 years, renting often makes more sense. If you plan to stay 7+ years, buying starts to make financial sense because you're building equity, locking in costs, and benefiting from appreciation, even in a market that's as tough as San Diego. Also remember, the down payment here is huge, often $150,000 at a minimum for a medium sales price. But bigger down payments shorten your break-even time and give you a better monthly payment. Some programs allow only 3.5% down, which is a huge plus. Rents here can rival mortgage payments, but rents just disappear while mortgage starts making you money over time. If you're serious about making a smart move here in San Diego, whether you're leaning towards renting or buying or somewhere in between, you've taken the first step by just watching this video. Here's what you should do next. Comment below with the biggest housing question. Really, I read every comment. Hit subscribe so you never miss another breakdown like this. We'll do weekly real stats, not guesswork. And if you want personalized walkthrough of your rent versus buy scenario with your numbers and timelines and real ROI projections, click on the link below to book a strategy call with me. I'm Victoria Sandoval, your San Diego strategist, market translator, and your ally in an insanely competitive housing market. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.